Hey everybody. Um, as I prepare my day, I woke up with this thought on my mind because it's December. There are a lot of people who are suffering in silence, right? The holiday season can be quite difficult for them. They feel alone, they feel lonely, and the people and the individuals that they depended on to brighten up their day, it may be a parent, it may be a relative, it may be a friend. That person is no longer present. And so they're struggling right now. And because we are so blessed and our households are intact, our families are intact, we forget about those individuals that's close to us. And some of these people are in your close surroundings. They just lost a loved one. It's their first year of dealing with it. A child has been snatched by a bullet that went through a window or a car or a door. And we're so caught up in the holiday season that we never pay attention to nobody else but ourselves. Some individuals have been diagnosed with some things and they're recovering from it. But it still left a scar. It still left a heavy weight that they're dealing with. And I think in this season of giving and this season of reflection, we ought to look around and be grateful for the things that's within our reach. And I'm not talking about big things. I'm not talking about your cars. I'm not talking about your apartments. I'm not talking about your houses. I'm talking about your parents that's still living. I'm talking about all your children that are still here. I'm talking about the fullness of your health and your strength and your mind being intact. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the activities of your limbs, not the gifts that's under the tree. Because the best gift that you have is the gift of life. And that can be snatched so quickly. In a blink, it could be gone. So let's think of others more than we think of ourselves. It's so important. If there are relationships that we need to mend, the time is now. Because once you leave here, you can't go back and correct that. It's done. If you said something to somebody, apologize and move on, and prayerfully the other person has a forgiving heart to receive what you say. Life is short. It's very short. It's shorter than a blink. And yet some of us don't get it. We have so many things to be grateful for, even if you're in financial stresses and strains, even if you don't have all the food in your cabinet to eat. You still can find something within your reach to be grateful and thankful for. And that's what we need to be. We live so short-sighted. We live in such a rush. We want everything done quick, fast, and in a hurry. But we never take the time to appreciate what we have. Because even though it may not be much to you, it's great to somebody else. And you need to think about that. You need to think about that. If you're not catching the bus, that's something to be grateful for. If you have a little nest egg in your account, that's something to be grateful for. If you have somebody to lean on in times of troubles and hardships, that's something to be grateful for. If your parents are still breathing and you can pick up the phone and call them or even text them, that's something to be grateful for. And like I said earlier, if your household and the circle of your family has not been broken, that's something to be grateful for. This is the last month of 2024. We will never see this again. And yet we live so carelessly. Some of us hearts are so cold. Our feelings are so shut off and shut down. We've allowed people to silence us, to make us feel like we're unworthy and we don't have any value whatsoever. And that's not the case. So before you decide to judge somebody or what you think you know when you really don't know what's behind the doors, what's behind the scenes of what they're dealing with, what they're coping with, I hope you have a little more grace. I hope you have a little more humility. And I hope you reflect that you wasn't where you are at all the time. You went through some things to get to where you at. So how dare you to judge somebody else who has less than you? How dare you to look down on them? How dare you to minimize their struggles? How dare you to make them feel less than? And if we say we love God and we his child and we represent him, don't you think that what you're doing is not right and it need to be corrected immediately? How can we tell our children anything when we say one thing and do another? We talk, but we don't walk the talk. So just think about in this season, this holiday season, the 12th month of the year, there are a lot of people out here suffering and hurting. They want help, they need help, and they don't know how to ask for it. And some of us, I'm including myself, are too prideful to open our mouth because we've been shut down and looked at funny so many times. And all the time, because a person has a smile don't mean they have it all together. They don't. They just smile to keep from crying. So let's be a little more compassionate. Let's have a little more understanding and a lot more empathy in this holiday season. Think about it. Let me know your thoughts.